We are live. Good morning, everybody. Happy Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve. How we doing? How we feeling? Um, it's Christmas week. Means it's gonna be, yeah, last minute stuff. Um, I don't know how you feeling. If you're feeling like me, my kids are in camp for a couple of days at the little gym. If you didn't catch my episode with the owner of the little gym last week, go check that out. Um, we didn't really talk much about the little gym. We talked mostly about business, and this is its location. And it was packed in there this morning. I think there's about 30 kids on the list. So that's really cool. So that place is just nice to see places like that, right? This time of year about what businesses you can support this time of year. It's tempting when it's last minute to just jump on Amazon. Looking like my connection's gone a bit funny. I'm not sure why. It'll come back on. But yeah, it's tempted to just get everything last minute because it gets delivered within seconds of your ordering it. But we were just in Savannah over the weekend, and there was this really big like Christmas market, and I was looking and I was like, does anybody need any of that stuff? But then I was thinking, like, that's somebody's business there, right? And like, you might be able to get something a little more personalized for somebody rather than just run of the mill stuff. So I'm trying to think about it like that. But what's going on with you in the gym this week is why you're here, right? How do you stop one day this week, Christmas Day, turning into Wednesday, Christmas Eve, Thursday, Christmas Day, Friday, Boxing Day, Saturday, Christmas weekend, Sunday, now just let it all go, right? How do you jump on it so you make it just one day where maybe you don't make good choices and you don't feel great, and not 5 days, or maybe you already started, right? It's not too late if you already started eating bad, right? Like, you can still change it. Have a good day today, have a good day tomorrow, and then have one day where you cheat a little bit over Christmas, right? If that's your day. Or pick a day. If your family usually do like traditional stuff, go and do that day and just don't worry about what happens, right? But there are some ways that mentally you can just feel good. Even if you just get up a little bit earlier than everybody else and just go out for a quick walk, especially if you're in a different city, right? If you're in a visiting family somewhere, like, so often every tradition is like in someone's house or around the kitchen table and stuff like that. So just like, I know you think you'll feel better if you sleep a little bit longer, but you probably won't. So if you get up and you get out, I think that's one of the good tips for this week is get up and get out of the house. And I know it's tempting to say, like, I'll take my running shoes and go for a run, but you might not be able to face that, right? Like, traveling somewhere, eating, drinking, whatever, hanging out with family and friends, like, sometimes you're just exhausted. So, but you can face just getting outside and going for a walk and just exploring a little bit, come back, you've got some fresh air, you might just feel a little bit better for the rest of the day. So just thinking about it like that, just keeping it super simple. In terms of eating, what I like to tell people and what's worked well for some of the guys that I work with is the best foods on the table are actually the healthiest foods. Like, eat the vegetables, eat the meat, eat as much of that as you want, and just try and avoid like the carbs, just like the boring, the ones that you think will make you feel good but really don't. Like, just aim for all the meats and all the veg and all that stuff, and like, it's actually the better food when you think about it. So you could eat as much of that as you want, and knowing if you've got a sweet tooth or not, knowing you might want all the other stuff, like, fill up on the meat and the veg. Eat as much of that as you can, and then you won't even really have space for the other stuff. A mindset that I've really had to try and break now I'm coming up on 40 is thinking that I need seconds and stuff, right? Like that used to be the tradition on these holidays was going back for more, going back for seconds and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't really still do it sometimes, but don't really try and force that anymore, right? So just a few things just to keep it simple. So what else are we going to talk about? Just real quick. This is not going to be a long one. You guys are busy. It's the holiday season. I know most people are trying to fit in 2 days of work into this week. So I just want to, while you're sitting around with your friends and family, you might be thinking about the year. And I just want to talk about how I work with people on thinking about the year, right? So I came to America at 18, dreamed of being a professional athlete. And that dream is what allowed me to fail, but end up where I'm at now with a business and living in America and just having a really, really good life, right? Obviously, I want more, but I'm very, very happy with where I failed to get to. I only would have failed and ended up here if I had a big dream, right? So 2026, I don't know how you feel, but I want it to be the year of dreaming a little bit bigger. I talked on my last podcast about your failures and thinking about what you failed at this year. And if the failure list is not long enough, then you've probably spent the whole of 2025 in a real comfort zone, which you have some years like that. When you're parenting, you're a new parent, or you just stepped into a new job, you got to try and figure it out. You can have years where you kind of just keep checking off goals and just keep, in that like comfort zone. But I want you to think big for 2026. And I think over the next few days, when you're away from your emails, which everybody should be away from their emails, you're away from your phone, everybody should be away from their phone. It's a good opportunity to just think about what you want for 2026. And if you're living the life that you thought you were going to live at the age that you're at, and if you're not, why are you not? And how are you going to make some changes in 2026, even if they're small changes, to get there. Make sure I'm on the microphone. I'm not. Sorry about the audio. Hopefully that's better. So, talking about dream life and dreaming bigger today. So, when I sit down with business owners and I talk to business owners, I really care about what business they're trying to build, but I more care about how that fits into their dream life. Because what happens is people look for opportunities and they're like, wouldn't this business idea be great? Like, I could make money doing this. So they think about it in terms of market and opportunity. There's a million ways to make money. And if you're just looking to make money, if me and my wife wanted to make more money over the last 10 years, then she should have stayed at her job and I should have looked into where my degrees could take me, right? If we just solely were focused on making more money. But I've always been focused on a dream life and where I want my life to be and what I want the rhythm of my life to look like. And I don't necessarily have that dream life and dream rhythm now, but for me, it's more important that I'm on the road to that, right? And so if I was stuck in a cubicle somewhere, I don't think I'd be able to handle it. And I think I'd probably flip over the table. I couldn't handle a meeting about a meeting. I can't do that kind of thing, right? And I know that about myself. So I have to try and build it a different way. And for me, the pursuit of trying to get there is just as important as getting there. So maybe I will never get there, but I feel like I'm on the right path because every day I'm building something that I'm passionate about and I care about, right? So if we wanted more money, Lauren should go back to accounting. I should try and use my degrees and I don't know, go get a doctorate, maybe become a psychiatrist. But I know that's not where my life is supposed to be. And I know that I won't get up every day with the same passion that I get up every day with what I do now. So The question I like to ask people is, if money wasn't an issue, what would you be doing every day with your life? Not, hey, what's the business opportunity that's going to make you the most amount of money? That's not where I go. That's not what we need to talk about, because what if that business can't get you to that life? Yeah, it might be a great opportunity, but maybe it's just not the opportunity for you. Your job might be a great source of revenue, but if you keep going up the ladder and it eventually doesn't lead to the life that you want, then it's not the right opportunity. And you got to figure out a way out of that, an exit strategy, some way to get you to that dream life. For some people that I've talked to about this, because I usually talk to coaches about this and I usually talk to business owners about this when they come into the gym or they come into one of my programs. And some people I've had, well, not many, but I've had a few cases where they say, I love my job and I love my life. And I'm like, that's why we're here, right? You've nailed it. Great. I want that to be the way that it is, right? So, is there anything that we can do to make it even better? Like, I love where you're at, but what I don't want to happen is for you to get stagnant, right? So, if money wasn't an issue, what would you do with your life every day if you could do it for free? Now, that's a completely different conversation. Now we're going to see how that business fits in and what that life's going to look like going forward, right? On top of that, how long is it going to take for you to get there? If you can get there in a year, great. But for most people and for most, successful businesses or successful careers or anything worthwhile doing, it's going to take you probably 10 years. It's going to either take you 10 years or 10,000 hours, right? We all know that's a rule to become great at something. And for most people, their dream is not to be bang average. Their dream is not to be like fine at something. It's to be pretty damn good and to be paid well for it and to be respected for it and to get some kind of fulfillment from doing it really, really well. So, in order to do that, looking over a short period, like 1 year or 2 years, is fine. We want to know where you want to end up next year. But what if right now you started thinking about, instead of next year, you start thinking about 10 years from now? And what does it look like 10 years from now? I think it's Tony Robbins always says, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but they underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And if you have that 10-year vision, I think that's a little bit more important than just being like, what am I going to do this year? Because what if you fail in the next couple of months? Do you quit? No. If you only have a year to do it, yeah, you might be like, I'm running out of time. But if you have 10 years to get there, then now a couple of months is not a problem, right? Like, oh, okay, I learned from this, rebuild, start again. Or, oh, that was not the way to do it. That's not the right system. And we start building from that. So you want to think about stuff like your living situation, what your career looks like, what your job looks like, what your level of income is, how much money you're saving, things like that. You want to think of cool stuff, right? You want to be able to see it. So like some people talk. Who was I listening to the other day? I think it was Cody Sanchez. She was saying like some people do vision boards, and I think that's fantastic. You get a vision of what you want your life to look like. But she said, write a story to yourself of who you're going to be, because we respond better to stories. And over the next few days, I'm going to do that. I'm going to write the story of where I want my life to be in the next few years, all the way up to 10 years, and like really personalize it so that I'm not just taking other people's pictures and putting them on a vision board and being like, that's my life, when really that's photos of somebody else's life on a board. Like really write a story from where you are and start with something like the year is 2036 and go. What is my living situation? What is my income? What car do I drive? What are the things that are important to you? What does my house look like? What does my day-to-day schedule look like? And what am I getting from life every day? What does everything look like? Like the scary thing about that one for me is when I look at that and I go, the year is 2036. For me, the scariest thing is not like where my business is and not where, what car I'm driving, what house I have and things like that. The thing is, in 10 years time, when I look at that, I'll be 49 instead of 39, but my son will be 15 and my daughter will be 13. So I'll have two teenagers instead of two toddlers. And yeah, like, where do we want to be? What do we want to be doing? What do I want my life to look like? What do I want how do I want my life to be an example to them, right? Do I want to be in the same spot that I am right now? Do I want to have not failed at anything over that 10 years? Do I want to be successful? Do I want it to look like success? Or do I want them to, do I want to show them the day to day rhythm of a healthy, happy, and successful person? Like, what example do I want to set? Because there's many examples I could set. I could just go and work as hard as possible for the next 10 years, not be around and be like, here's your trust fund. Here's $1 million for you and Mia for when become 18. I don't really know you, but it'll be fine. Like, you've got the money. Is that what I want? Or do I want an example of being in their lives and being there for them and maybe making less money, but we have a better relationship, teaching them how to make money? Like, how can I, over this next 10 years, have the biggest impact, not just on my life, but on my family as a whole? Like, they're questions I wasn't thinking about 5 years ago when I started this program and when I was working with other business owners. Like, that stuff didn't even come to my mind. It was like, I want to drive a Lamborghini when I'm, like, say 5 years ago. So I was like, when I'm 45, I want to be doing this. I want to be living here and I want to be a boat and a jet ski. And so I'm having different conversations even 5 years on. And that's why it's important to keep reevaluating this, but set such a longer target and set such a longer goal and know that it's going to change, but at least you're on a longer path, right? If I would have at 12 years old been like, I'm going to go to the NBA, but I only have 1 year to do it. No one's ever made the NBA at 13. And I have to just keep stacking them days and them rhythms to get there in 10 years. So write that note to yourself, write that letter to yourself. Don't just leave it there. This is the most important part of this dream setting or vision setting or goal setting over a longer period of time. You got to now question everything. So whatever's in that story that you write to yourself, whatever you've wrote down that you want to achieve over the next 10 years, why do you want to do it is way more important. So after you've written down what you would do for free if you could do it every day, after you've decided how you're going to get there, what you need, what your life looks like, what your career looks like, what everything looks like, circle each one and write down why you need to do that. Not only why you need to achieve the dream, but why do you need that career? Why do you need that car? Why do you need that house? Why do you need that, whatever it is, boat, jet ski, whatever it is you want, right? Why do you need to have that rhythm to your life? Why is that important? Because if you can't answer why, then it's not really very important. My business coach, I realized the best business coaches don't give you strategies. They don't give you tools. They don't give you all this stuff, right? That's not the best thing they do. When you say something to them, they ask you why you need to achieve that, right? So for me, I've always wanted a nice car. Like, I've always wanted a supercar. I love cars. I've had the poster on my wall since I was a little kid. I get a lot of satisfaction out of being in a nice car. So when I say, why do I want a certain car, or it's not so other people can see that I'm driving this car. It's because it's one of the things that I love is getting in a really nice car. And there's just something about it for me that feels really good. And it's not whether other people are looking at it, any of that stuff. It's just, I like it. I wash my car every week inside and out, by hand. Like, for me, it's one of them things that I really, really strive for. And it's not for anybody else but me. And I think that's a good enough reason, right? It's also a good enough reason if you say, I want this car because I want other people to look at it and be like, dang, that's cool. And he can get that car or she can get that car. That's fine too, because it's your why, it's your answer. But you have to see the why behind it and see if it's good enough, right? Is that good enough? If that's good enough for you, it's a good enough why. Okay. So don't judge the whys. Just look at them and be like, is that a good enough why? Should I work that hard to do that for that reason? And if yes, then great, you found it. If not, maybe you don't need that car. Maybe you don't need that house. Like I used to have a vision that I wanted this massive house. Like I wanted like a big house and like grew up watching MTV Cribs and it was like, oh, look at the size of the fridge and wow, whoa, look at the basement and all that stuff. I own gyms, so I don't need a gym at my house. I don't need a full-size basketball court. I don't need any of that stuff. Be cool to have a hot tub, be cool to have a pool, but it'd just be cool. I don't need it, right? Whereas I used to think I needed it. And then I realized I don't want to be on MTV Cribs. I don't need to show off my house. A 5-bedroom house would be a nightmare for my life because me and my wife don't do that stuff. That's not in us. We just want a place to keep our stuff where we have a nice movie set up and we could play games with our kids and we have a nice big dining room table, a fire pit outside, and we're happy. Maybe we want a pool in 10 years. Maybe we do want that stuff. But it won't be for the reason that somebody else sees it and they're impressed by it. It'll be because we want it for our lifestyle and for our kids and for this fits our life right now. And so just question why you want it. And if you do want a big house to show off, and that's your why, that is fine too. It's your why. Remember that when you're going through these. Don't judge your whys on things. So that's where we start, right? And I don't want to get further on down this path because, yeah, you've got to put money to it. You've got to see, there's a bunch of stuff that I do with people, right? Like we go through the finances of it all next to see how realistic it is. We go through like what you might need to become that person. And that's in the reality, right? Like, let's just keep this dream level, especially over the next few days, because you don't need to think about reality. You just will have some time where you're not on your phone, you're not in your email, you're not in your to do list, where you can dream a little bit and think about where you want your future to be in the next 10 years. So, what I do in the next phases with people, if you have any interest, is go into the reality of that. Like, what does the finances look like? What is your dream budget? What is your current budget? What are you working on now? And what are the growth strategies to get there? Like, personally and financially. Then we go into who you are. So, what are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? Um, yeah, how are you going to be able to pull this off? Basically, like, what person do you need to become? Then we go into what fears are holding you back, right? So goal setting and dream setting and vision setting is fun, but fear setting is one of my favorite tools to use with business owners and with new coaches and stuff because everybody has these big dreams, and then when it's time to put them into action in January, something stops. 99% of people, and it's usually some kind of fear of failure for most people. A big one is feeling like an imposter, right? And if you're not an imposter right now, I want to say if you're not an imposter in something you're doing, then again, you've just been playing it safe in 2025. And then finally, we set massive goals, big action plans. We take big steps, right? In order to live a big life, you have to be able to fail big and you have to put it on the line. I talk about this a lot, but Oxford would not exist if I had not signed leases. If my house, my mortgage, my family was not on the line, starting running a business is way too hard to just dip your toe in. You got to throw it all in there. You got to go big. And that's what you got to think about for your goals for 2026, right? If you just go, I think I might do a marathon, and then you sign up for a 5K, you're not going to do that marathon, dude. If you're like, I'm going to do a marathon, then go sign up for that marathon today. Find a way, find a strategy to sign up for it today. I don't care when you're going to do it, sign up today. If you want to open a business, find a space, sign a lease. Don't just keep writing the business plan and making the website and Don't just go online and be like, oh, I'm going to do a marathon, so I'm going to buy a pair of Nikes. That's not enough. That's not a big enough step. Okay. Take a big, giant step, and then you have to go all in. And that's it. That's where I take people. And that takes about a month. And at the end of that month, you have a clear outline and plan for what you're going to do the next 10 years. But not only do you have a plan, you have all the data to back it up. You know what the next milestone is. You know where you need to get to. You know what's going to pop up in terms of fears and, that inner voice that's going to try and stop you. And you have strategies to avoid that too. And so your dream is now in action for the next 10 years. And you're not at the end of 2026 questioning, oh, how do I start again? You've already started. You're already going. So that's it for today. I just want you to enjoy your holidays. Simple steps over the holidays. Get rid of your phone. Get rid of your phone. Don't check your email. Who the hell's emailing over the next couple of days, right? Kind of psycho. Were they emailing you the start of the year? Were they emailing you in the middle of summer? Were they emailing you before the end of the quarter? No. So ignore them emails. They'll be fine. Unless you work in a hospital and someone's going to die, then nobody cares about you being on your phone. Get the hell off your phone. In that time, wake up before everybody else, wherever you're at, and go for a walk. If you feel like it, go for a run. But sometimes the idea of trying to get your body going when you're somewhere cold and you don't have the right stuff and blah, 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 you can wear any shoes and go for a walk. Get outside, go for a walk, come back. You'll feel better when you face your family, friends, everybody. They'll appreciate you going for a walk. Focus on the meat and the vegetables. Ignore all the shitty carbs. They look good in the bowl, but they don't even taste good. They don't feel good. Eat mindfully when you're eating and eat as much of the meat and the veg as you want. And then you'll be full and you can't eat as much as the crap anyway. And then take some time and write it down somewhere. What you failed at in 2025, what you're gonna fail at in 2026, and then start thinking about what you would do every day with your life if you could do it for free. And that does not revolve around money when you're first thinking of that. We can get to that in the later stages of that. Just figure out what you want to do and what you would do if you could get up and do it every day for free. How we get there and what you're currently doing is completely irrelevant if we don't know where we'd want to go and what we want to do. This is your time to do that over the next few days. And if you're not where you want to be right now, then email me, Ann@ox.fit. I work with business owners. I work with athletes. I work with dads. I work with moms. I work with all kinds of people. But I mostly work with goals and I work with dreams. So let me know what that is for you and I'll point you in the right direction or we'll get started and let's get you failing in 2026. My goal for 2026 is to fail bigger. And if you want to do that too, then here I am. Let's go. Have a great day. Don't put too much pressure on yourself over the next few days. Get done what you can get done and start thinking about what you want to do and where you want to be this time next year. And if you need me, email me ant@ox.fit or DM me at @oxley on Instagram. See you in the gym. Get outside, get some vitamin D, and take some zinc. There's a lot of bugs going around. If you just drink and eat whatever you want and you don't get outside, you're probably going to leave this next week as sick as everybody else. There you go, Cash. Don't have to look. Don't have to go back. You got it. That was everything I talked about. I know you've only got like an hour to get all your work done for the week. So I'll email you my bullet points from today. All right, Kiki, go write your story, girl. What else we got? Yeah. In 10 years' time, I'll have 2 teenagers. And Cash, you will have 2 teenagers too. 10 years goes fast. Feels like yesterday I opened up Oxfit. Perk coffee today. That's a nice treat. That's my treat for today, right? All good foods from here on out. Got myself a nice coffee. We'll call that it. All right. Have a great day. Have a great few days. I will see you in the gym. If I don't see you in the gym, have a great Christmas. And let's get ready for the new year. If you haven't yet signed up, Deca Mile New Year's Day at Oxfit Grant Park. Have a great day.